My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Tales from the Crypt Season 5. And I'll give the season this. It was definitely an improvement over Season 4, but it's starting to get pretty rough. There was 13 episodes, and I liked 5, maybe 6 of them. The show has always been hit or miss, but I need more hits and less misses this far in. And I know it seems to be a staple of the series, but some of the ideas with affairs and circuses, it's getting really played out. And speaking of which, let's begin by talking about the worst episode, and it's food for thought. And I will say, Oni Hudson gives a good performance here, but it's in a fail episode set at a circus. It just doesn't feel like anything new, and it doesn't do anything effective, so as a result, it's really forgettable. The second worst episode is Till Death Do Us Part. Another affair-like episode, and I don't even know why it's a Tale from the Crypt episode. There's nothing that really screams Tales from the Crypt here, but I still found it to be really bland, and I really didn't care for it. The third worst episode is Halfway Horrible, and it's nice to see Clancy Brown, but I didn't really care for this. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like a generic Tales from the Crypt episode, and everything just feels so played out here. The fourth worst episode is Well Cooked Hams, and I do like Billy Zane's performance. He is the best part of this episode, but the story just sucks. You know exactly what direction it's going in the entire time, and I was hoping to be surprised, but nope. It ends on the most obvious note possible. Okay, the fifth worst episode, and I feel like this is going to be a real hot take, but it's House of Horror. And I like the premise of it, but there's just too many misleads to the point where it feels so convoluted. Oh, we're pulling a prank on you. Oh, well, we're actually pulling a prank on you. And then, oh, we're pulling a prank on you. And I don't know, it just felt like a mess by the end. It's never scary or fun. And the ending kind of just sucked. And it's really weird that the guy who gets killed at the end doesn't even try to run away. So, I wasn't big on it. The sixth worst episode is As Ye Saw, which is he thinks his wife's cheating on him with the priest, and it's kind of blah, but I do like the ending, but not enough to the point where it can save the episode. The seventh worst episode is Oil's Well That Ends Well, and it's kind of entertaining enough for a while, but then I don't know, I feel like too many misleads, too many twists, and it just kind of becomes a mess. But I do like the ending where she drops the cigarette and blows them all up to smithereens. And then you get the Crypt Keeper praising John Casel's performance. Just some really great meta humor there. So I like the way this episode ended, but not enough to the point where it can save it. And then we've got Came the Dawn, and I found this episode to be very frustrating. It's Brooke Shields and Perry King both give very good performances, but I was actually loving this episode for the first 90% because I didn't know what was going to happen. Does he know who she is? What has she done in the past? Is he going to attack her? Is she going to attack him? What's going to happen here? But then you just get this ending where, oh, he's mentally ill and he dresses as a woman, and I don't know. It once again, it kind of just feels played out, and I would have liked them to just keep this episode grounded. It's a shame because I was really loving it, and then by the end, just. The fifth best episode is People Who Live in Brass Horses, and this episode is entertaining. Bill Paxton and Brad Dourif do a very good job, and there's actually some very funny moments here. And I was liking it. But once again, then we get that ending where it turns out the Ice Cream Man is like a conjoined twin. I don't know. Like, I've watched so many episodes of this show in the past few weeks, and like, you had the episode with Don Rickles where his hand's a puppet, and you get that one circus episode with the guy with two faces, and I don't know, I feel like this is kind of played out by now, and it felt like a tryst just for the sake of it. So, it's mid. And okay. The fourth best one is Two for the Show. And it kind of reminds me of King the Dawn because I was just really invested in this storyline. This guy murders his wife. He's trying to get away with it. This detective that's after him is on the same train as him. There's just some really well-written stuff here. There's some nice tension. But then we get to the ending, and like, the ending doesn't ruin this episode like it does some of the others. But I do feel like it gets messy. Like, oh, wait, so his wife was cheating on him with his wife, and they both killed the wives, and he was trying to set him up, and I don't know, it kind of just lost me by the end, but still getting to that point was really well done. The third best one is Death of Some Salesman, and I really like this episode for two reasons. The first is the performances. Ed Begley Jr. and Tim Curry both do a great job here, and there's some really uncomfortable stuff. Like when the sales guy's trying to convince the one girl that he loves her, and you know, they do it, and cringe. But once again, we get to the ending, and it kind of just feels like a tryst for the sake of it when they could have just played it out straight. Like, instead of, oh, he attacks her, and it turns out he doesn't love her, and oh, it's all a setup, why not just have him stay married to her, and that's his prison? You know, he put himself in this situation and he can't get out. Like, sometimes the twists make or break an episode, and in this case, it did drag it down a little bit. But the top two episodes of this season are legitimately great. And the second best one is Forever Hamburgers. And, okay, first of all, this episode has Steve Buscemi, who does a really great job, but you've also got Roger Daughtry and Lisette Anthony, all great performances. But I love how this is a war story that turns into a horror story, and the practical effects here are gnarly. Like when Steve Buscemi's eye pops out, I was like, oh. And when the other dude's nose falls off, like this episode just goes for it. And I kind of feel like it was the inspiration for Cabin Fever, potentially. But I really did love this episode. The only thing holding it back a little bit is the ending. Like, you've got Steve Buscemi's wife, Bobby, who's kind of wants to be with this other guy, but then screws him over too. And I feel like motivations got really muddled by the end. So still great, amazing practical effects, and I love Steve Buscemi, but could have ended stronger. But my favorite episode is Creep Course. And look, we get so many stories about zombies and werewolves and vampires. It's nice to get a story here with a mummy. I would actually like more horror movies to have mummies in them. And I also really like the school setting. It allows this episode to stand out. You've got some great performances here from Anthony Michael Hall and Jeffrey Jones. But Nina Simatsuko, who really stands out here. But I just like the way the story progresses. You've got revenge. You've got evil people doing evil stuff. You've got, It's just got all the basics of a Tales from a Crypt episode, but just done very effectively. And I kind of like it in stories where there's a character who's seen as weak and gets picked on and then becomes powerful and rises above it. It's just a very satisfying character arc to have here, and there's also some gross practical effects. So this one just fully delivered for me, and that's why it's my favorite of season 5. So yeah, some good ones here, definitely. I do think the endings are starting to fail just a little bit, and some of the episodes are starting to feel been there, done that. I hope the final 2 seasons step it up a bit, but I don't got my hopes up. But what's your ranking of season 5? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin out.